I don't think you can find a relationship like that with any other school in the state, much less the nation. It's coming to tutorials and seeing those tutorials and seeing how much they want everybody in that school to succeed is just amazing.
You're listening to the Good for Business podcast, where we feature interviews, tips, and tricks from owners, operators, and innovators throughout Mississippi and around the world. And now, your host, Colin Krieger.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show this week. My episode is my good friend Spike Harris, who is the coordinator for admissions.
That is correct.
At MSMS, which is the Mississippi University.
University.
I like to call it the Mississippi University.
Okay, yeah. The Mississippi School for Mathematics and Science.
Which is basically a university. On the most recent rankings, is the 63rd best school in the country.
We're the number one public high school in Mississippi.
Yes.
The number one faculty in public high school in Mississippi. Last year, Newsweek ranked us the number 12 high school in the entire nation. This year, U.S. News and World Reports ranks us out of the top 2,000 STEM schools. We're ranked at number 53, so we do all right.
He's better with numbers than I am. And we're here today to talk about about MSMS, but about the application process, which recently opened up, correct?
That's correct. It opened up on, the Tuesday after Labor Day weekend. I can't remember that particular day. I'm going to be able to tell you guys deadlines soon enough.
Yeah.
But it opened up, and we've got a very good response so far. And then, the application deadline is going to be February 1st. And so we hope, throughout the next several months, I'll be going on the road doing these things called super nights, which are informational meetings. I'll also be going into local schools, talking about the school and what we offer to students. We're basically the state school. We're the state public school. Yeah.
It's a state magnet school. It is residential, which a lot of people outside of Columbus might not even know. Yeah. And I think the battle or the marketing battle for y'all not only is awareness, that's probably half the battle. Like, hey, we've got one of the best schools in the country right here in Mississippi. The other part of it is, are you going to let your kids leave your house and move in when they're 15 years old?
We can talk about that in a little bit.
Absolutely.
So, not just in Mississippi, but even in the Golden Triangle, a lot of people don't know who we are. We're a public residential high school, residential, you said, and we're public. So if you're going to a public school, you'll spend as much money coming here as you would at your public high school. We're not just solely focused on STEM, which for those of you who don't know that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We also have a very strong humanities program in English, visual and performing arts, and then as well as the social sciences.
One of the best history departments in the country.
I would say so. Yes, sir. Yes. And just so you know, I graduated from MSMS in 1991. Actually, the school, I guess, was written into law in around 1987. Governor William Winters, who was our education governor, he went to North Carolina, saw a school that was residential, focused on math and science. It was the only school in the nation at the time. He saw it. He's like, I want something like this in Mississippi. So we became the fourth high school. This is a residential high school, public residential high school that focused on math and science. And our first class graduated in 90, and I graduated in 91. So
in all the small world sections, I had a gentleman bought a house here in town last week with the Air Force who graduated from the one in North Carolina. And
really?
He knew all about MSMS, and I believe his mother teaches at the school there. So
yeah, that's a great school. We focused after that. Focused our image after the North Carolina school, but then we put our own flair to it because we're the Mississippi School for Mathematics and Science.
Absolutely. So, that was one of the most surprising parts is I got to know more about the school. First because of Wade Leonard, which was, I don't know, was he in your exact position?
He actually hired me.
Okay. Wade Leonard, ponytail and all, probably 12 years ago. We got to be friends with him. He exposed us to school, and Jermaine McConnell was there, and we sent our kids to camp. And really, if we had thought it was just math and science, we'd be scared to death for our children, to go there.
I'm glad you mentioned camps because actually we probably have over 50 students in our total student body of about 240. At one point or another went to summer camp. They may have gone to like 5 years of the summer camp, 4 or 5 years, or just 1 year. But the summer camp's a great opportunity to see if this is the type of school you want to go to.
Yes.
You're being taught by some of the same teachers. You're not just being taught like STEM classes, you're also doing photography. We have music classes. We have so many things to do after you finish with those classes. And you're staying in the resident hall. You're also meeting students that are like-minded. And so when you come to MSMS, a lot of times you may be the only person from your high school that's coming here, but you may know people from summer camps that are there. And so y'all have that connection like that. So I would always say, if you're in the 7th, 8th, or 9th grade, be looking on our website about the summer camps opportunities, because that's a great way to find out if your kid is going to like it at MSMS. It's not for everybody, but it's a great opportunity for you to find out if this is the right school for you.
Yeah, and of course, a lot of the parents, I'd say at least 80% of them are the type of me that they want their kid to be president of the student council because it's going to help them get into college. Yeah, I think it's worth noting, and I believe I'm correct on this, just going to camp doesn't mean you're going to get into school.
That's correct, yeah. We actually, with the application process that has recently opened up, it's a pretty rigorous application. We do, the first thing is the application, where we have to get, math, English, additional teacher recommendations. There's a personal narrative. We like to call it the brag box. A lot of people don't like to brag, but they've done a lot of neat stuff. And this is a perfect opportunity for us to learn about you through that brag box. And then there are also some essay questions as well. The thing with the application, because the first step of the application is the application review. So we have a faculty member, we have an educator and a non-educator that's not a part of the school that are reviewing all of these applications. They don't see your ACT scores and they don't see your grades. And the reason is we're looking for a student as a whole. We want to make sure that you can complete this application, you can do well enough on that if you make a certain amount of points, you'll be asked to interview. So once the application's done, you go to the interview. With the interview, it's going to be different people, but it's going to be an educator and a non-educator that are going to interview. And they just kind of want to get to know you, get that face with the application that goes in there. At that time, they still don't see the ACT scores or the grades. Oh, which that said, let me tell you everything you need to be to go to MSMS. Yeah. First off, as I said, we're Mississippi public school, so you have to live in Mississippi to go to MSMS to be able to enroll. We've had students, I know the last couple of years, whose family has bought land in Mississippi so they could be property tax, get taxed on their property. We've had somebody currently that was going to a private school in New Hampshire whose mom stayed here in Madison, Mississippi. So whenever she left 10th grade, she could come to MSMS. So it's a very special school, and it's only for people in Mississippi. So it's a privilege if you get accepted and you decide to enroll to come to the school. There are certain classes you need to take. I can go through the list. English 1, English 2 is required. Algebra 1 and geometry are required. Biology 1 is required. We recommend chemistry and also anything that are 2 credits up to social sciences. So, go ahead.
Yeah, and I know some schools, geography and chemistry are one of the ones that sometimes they're not taking those till junior year. And there's ways to take the classes online. Just for the record, both my daughter Allison just graduated there, and my daughter Katie is there now. And both of them are running to the same challenge that everybody runs into. That first semester, the math is for real. And they tell me sometimes, there's kids in this school that are absolute geniuses or genii. I'm not quite sure what it is, but there are kids who are in there who could probably just go straight to MIT now. And there's other ones that are exceptionally hard workers and have specialties in different things, but they all kind of run into what I'd like to call a buzzsaw in that first semester of math.
Yeah, some kids really don't need to come to the school, but they choose to come to the school because they have the opportunities and, they're genii.
Yeah, genii, why not?
Genii, yeah. But then there are other kids that come to the school that have grit. They may be coming from a poor school district. They may not have the best ACT score, but they're showing proof through their grades that, if given the right resources, chances are they're going to be able to thrive at MSMS. Nobody thrives at MSMS in the first 4.5 to 5 weeks. I thought I was the smartest kid in the world coming from the little town that I was from. I get to MSMS and I find out I am such a I'm just an idiot. But that's probably not the right thing to say. But through the faculty help, through the residential life help, through the support system that we have at MSMS, if you come to MSMS and you handle all of those resources that are offered to you, you're going to succeed. And I'm kind of going back and forth here.
Yeah.
But other requirements are those grades and that ACT. So let me tell you about the ACT. We've had students that came in with an 18 or 19, okay? But these students have grit. And a lot of them have increased their ACT score by up to 10 to 11 points. That can change the trajectory of somebody's life. for scholarship opportunities and just other things like that. And so a lot of people worry because of the ACT, or they worry because their grades or anything like that. Again, we look at the whole person, not just your ACT score or your grades, because we're looking at that application, that interview, the maturity that you have, especially through the interview process of it. But it's a really, once you get here, you'll figure out your time management. You'll figure out money management. You'll figure out, for some folks, how to wash clothes, how to clean for the first time. It's an experience that really prepares you for college. In fact, niche.com ranked us in the top 1% of college preparedness in the nation. They've also, they ranked us the #1 public high school in Mississippi, as I mentioned earlier. So, this is a great school that's not just academics. It's about community. It's about getting ready for life. It's about moving to college well ahead of your colleagues. They're going to be there as freshmen.
Oh, it's been every college we went to, the ones that were aware of what MSMS was. Some of the ones out of state weren't, but at Ole Miss and State, as soon as you mentioned it, they're like, oh, well, we can skip because moving to the dorm and a roommate and all this other stuff wasn't a stress point at all for my oldest one, who was at Ole Miss. She wasn't worried. She knew how to do laundry. She knows how to kind of manage her own money. And on the flip side, that is part of the stress, I think, for not only students, for parents, is my daughter, as soon as they apply for it, you're driving off looking through the back window of your station wagon. Can you talk somewhat about I know that's part of the interview process, is seeing not only, can this kid, and it is a kid, handle moving away from home a little ahead of schedule?
We're looking at several things. Why do you want to come to MSMS? That's a big, question. We're looking at social maturity. We're looking at a student. Why not only do they want to come to MSMS, but, are they being forced through the questions that we offer? I can't share the questions, but are they being forced by their parents to come to MSMS? And they're like, I just don't want to go here, but my parents want me to go here. Or, is it something where they really want to go and the parents don't want to go? But I think once the parents and the students get on campus, first off, through campus tours or fall preview day or anything like that, and they meet our faculty, our residence life staff, and especially our students, I think it kind of eases their thoughts of like letting their student go a couple of years earlier than they would normally go. Yeah. And tell me real quick, your daughter's at Ole Miss.
Yeah, she's the Croft Institute. Yeah, which is the Croft Institute for International Studies up there. By the way, there are 6 freshmen from MSMS who did this. So half of the kids who went to Ole Miss from MSMS are in the Croft Institute. So
last year we graduated 114 students. They went to 43 different colleges and universities across the nation. MIT, Air Force Academy, USC. But the majority of our students stay within state.
Yeah.
Last year we had students go to Mississippi University for Women, Millsaps, Ole Miss, State, and Southern Miss, because their opportunities, first off, they're top-notch universities within the state. And then there's also scholarship dollars that are offered to them where you're practically getting paid to go to school in state. So like last year, $11.1 million were accepted of over 40 million scholarship dollars that were, given to the students. So I think that says a lot when you have 114 people graduate.
Oh, yeah.
And you have over $40 million in scholarships offered. So, so it's a great opportunity.
We were proud for the experience going through it, because Southern Miss was offering scholarships to the seniors.
That's right.
So was the W Caught full rides.
Full rides,
and
sure.
All of them have. You'd be very impressed if you go to Southern Miss and see how much they embrace the chemistry and the sciences, and of course Mississippi State with engineering, also for Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is pretty fancy. It's kind of like a resort, is what I've referred to it.
Yeah.
But they have some nice stuff there. My daughter, who had looked at 16 other colleges, including Tulane and other schools, just liked that they have the Croft Institute for International Studies, and the Croft Institute, which takes like 50 kids a year, loves MSMS kids because they say, we know they can handle the work.
I'm so happy that Southern Miss and MUW is doing this for our graduates. North Carolina school, if you graduate from there, you get a full ride scholarship to any North Carolina public university. That's what we're wanting to do here in Mississippi.
If we can, and I can say that as a parent who went through it, the Mississippi State and Ole Miss are not as excited as Southern Miss and MUW were. They're very fair with the money and that sort of thing. But I would tell you now, as somebody who's an above average income earner with above average kids, if that was the case, even if it was just, hey, the base salary in dorm, not the whole 30 grand, but 20, I really think they'd be getting closer to 80 or 90% of the kids. There are kids that have to go to MIT and these Ivy League schools, but a lot of them would come here and then go do their graduate work somewhere else. Because as you know, there's almost in state schools, especially, Tennessee's a good example. They don't want a lot of out-of-state kids. They really don't. They're California, all the polytechnic institutes and stuff. You got to work real hard. Of course, there's an echelon of kids at MSMS, but what I like to talk about there as a parent is my favorite part there is everybody wants you to win. My kids are completely different personalities. Both of them went into the buzzsaw in math, and I was talking to them last night because I knew I was going to interview you. Both of them said they had at least 7 people help them, meaning their math teacher, the other math teacher, the other math teacher, seniors, people in their class, juniors. And like in turn, they've helped people with English and stuff, just to catch up because like they were more than adept at math. But again, it's a lot at once.
I'm glad you brought up like the faculty and the teachers that come back. We have tutorials where all right, let's say this. Okay, your daughter was not good at geometry. Okay, so you would probably have to pay for a tutor, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so, at MSMS, our teachers actually come back and tutor a couple of hours a night for Monday through Thursday.
At night again, parents.
At night. They're coming back at night. Now, it may not be your specific teacher that's there, but there's somebody from that department that's there to help you. We don't want to set anybody up for failure, and so the teachers come back and they provide that help. Not only that, we work on a college schedule. So we're Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We have about, hour-long classes. And then Tuesday and Thursdays are kind of our research and lab times. Because of that, teachers also have their office hours. So you can meet with the teachers one-on-one as if you were in college. And then you mentioned there's peer tutoring. So we have students like seniors that are in a part of a group called Mu Alpha Theta, which is a math club that we have. They actually help other students that may be having issues and troubles in math. On that other side, these math students may be having trouble with some things on the social science side. So we have people that are on both sides that are helping each other because they're all there for one thing. They all are like-minded and they want to do their best academically. And so you have so much support for the academics through our faculty, through our staff, and also through our students. So,
and the teachers want your kid to win. Yeah, something that literally makes me tear up when I went to my first kid's orientation. I was just like, you could hear in their voice, like there's always something in the way of school teachers and professors. There's budgets and time frame, and there's almost nothing in the way at MSMS. Like, and again, I believe we're the family that lives closest to the campus. In history, 5 or 6 blocks
possibly
away.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and so we stop in more than often. But when I see them at Zachary's, they're like, hey, Katie's doing good, or this, and she needs to work on this, and blah, blah, blah. So it's neat to see that as often as I'm blessed to get to see it, and how much, again, I have been on campus going to an event for the Mississippi University for Women, which is where the campus is located, at 6 and 7 at night, and saw Dr. Eastling when he was a teacher, or Miss Arendona leaving tutoring kids at 7 at night, which you don't think that's going to happen at any high school or any college anywhere. So
and all of our faculty have their master's degree. About 30% have their PhDs in their focus. So you're not just going, this is not a regular high school. This is something special where for me, it was the best decision I ever made, still in the top 5 decisions in my life I ever made. Mind you, I did leave the math and science school to major in music at Southern Miss, but
they tie in. There's some Pythagorean.
Not everybody's majoring in math and science. I would say about 60% go to math and science, engineering, something in that form, and the others go into some sort of social science, anything like that, like nursing at MUW. So so there are opportunities, and it's because of the faculty, the staff, and I can't say enough about the residential life staff because you mentioned it's a residential high school. It's not just academics. This is what sets us apart from so many other schools, not just in the state, but in the nation. You're creating a community of, again, I keep saying like-minded people, but it is. And so they're doing a lot of stuff outside of the academics that our school offers. We probably offer 50 to 60 clubs, faith clubs, writing clubs, sports clubs,
wrestling and soccer. I mean, we had
we competed in that.
A state ranked wrestler last year,
and we did.
Yeah,
not only
back
that.
Now.
Yeah. She actually was the first MSMS student to go to nationals with that competition. And then last year, our tennis team was the number one team in the state in our division. We offer several sports, obviously tennis, like I mentioned, archery, which was actually a club, and then it became a sport. I can talk about that a little bit. We have swimming, cross country, trying to think of all of them now. Esports.
Yeah.
We do very good in esports. In fact, several years back, we had a student get a scholarship to Southern Miss based on esports. So we do compete with other schools in our division, and those schools are basically we can't do basketball, football, anything like that, but we do allow our students to be involved with competitive sports that are
and music focused. Too. They all make all kinds of accommodations. Y'all have several. I would say I'll at least say American class musicians. I know that we've had a couple graduates go overseas and stuff, but let's do this. We're gonna sit here and brag about this forever.
Okay, yeah,
this is all I do. But let's get back to
Thank you for bragging about us. You have a vested interest in the school. I'm sure.
Yeah, let's get back, especially this year when my kid doesn't have to compete with another whole bunch of applications. So I've got one more coming. We're trying to brainwash her.
Okay,
she's a few years away. So let's talk about the application process specifically. Where do they go online today to find out the basic information?
You can go to themsms.org. That's THE, MSMS is in Mississippi School for Mathematics and Science.org. And there's going to be an Apply Now button. You can click on that, and then you can start your application. We use a platform called PowerSchool. And so you'll have to create an account through PowerSchool, and then that's basically it. And our Office of Admissions and Advancement are here to help you as far as the application process goes. But what we're also doing is when you apply, we're assigning one of our senior leaders to work with you and stay in touch with you through the process. So if you have any questions, a lot of times kids don't want to talk to adults. So they're able to talk to kids that just went through the process 2 years ago. So I would ask anybody that's interested in coming to MSMS to start the application and actually complete the application. Just because you complete the application doesn't mean you're going to be enrolled at MSMS, because we do have that process. But I would hate for somebody later on down the road who did not complete the application realize, I wish I would have completed that application. If you're on the fence, complete the application, and then make the decision in April whenever we send out decision letters to the students. And that's when you get together with your family and friends and find out if this is the school you want to go to. Yeah.
And so if they get the application in time and do it, when are they notified?
So once the application gets in, we'll do the application review. If you do well on the application review, you're going to get a call to do an interview. After the interview, we'll go through a final selection committee. The final selection committee is where the grades and the ACTs are finally being seen. The selection committee is one of our 2 counselors. It's going to be a faculty member that wasn't involved with the application review. We bring in an alumni, and we also bring in an educator and a non-educator. So we have 5 different sets of eyes from different backgrounds that are looking at these students. Now, at that time, this sounds kind of bad. At that time, those students are just numbers to us. We don't see their names, where they're from, or anything like that. We just see their scores from the application, the interview, the grades, and the ACT. Once you go through that process, they finally figure out, who they want to invite. And this year we're going to be doing on Monday. So that Wednesday after the final selection, we'll be sending out letters. You'll either get a letter saying that you've been accepted, a letter of conditional acceptance. And what that means is like your daughters, maybe you didn't take a half credit of health, or maybe you need to show that you have completed chemistry, another class like that. But you have until July, the middle of July, to let us know that. So that's a conditional one. We also have alternates. Here's something really important about that decision. If you do get an acceptance letter, I want you to think really serious about attending MSMS. If you do come to school and 2 to 3 weeks later you realize this is not for you, you're not just affecting yourself, you're affecting somebody you don't know that's on that alternate list, because we can't bring somebody up if school has already started.
Yeah, and that's another, because is there an orientation day in April?
There's an orientation day. New student orientation is going to be in April. And that's where you actually get, if you've not come for a tour on campus or anything, that's where you'll get to meet the faculty. That's where you get to meet with your counselors and work on your scheduling for your first semester of your junior year.
Yeah, and there are some people that come that day and finally make the decision, or you see the parents' shoulders drop, or like there were me and two other dads this year who were kind of like tearing up, and I've been involved in school for 10 years where they just don't realize how amazing the opportunity is.
Yeah, if you've never been to campus and new student orientation is the first time you've been to campus, and you finally see other students from across the state there, you get to meet with other parents. You get to talk with current parents and current students about the school. And a lot of times that really does make the decision. It's like, yes, this is a place I want to
go. Talk about the point breakdown thing. So point breakdown, I'm looking, it's out of 60, and I'm a little dull on math, but
okay.
The app review is 15, and the ACT is 15, and then interview, STEM, and overall grades is 10. Can they update their ACT up until the
Yes, they
deadline?
Can. Mm-hmm. The last you're required to have the ACT for the application. So the last ACT you can take before final selection is going to be the February one. If you've already taken the ACT and you've sent in those scores, you'll just upload that in the PowerSchool platform. If you do better, like I think the next one's in October, or you do better, the one in December, you can just send us those scores, and then we'll update the scores. And if it's a higher level, you'll get more points on the ACT section of our scoring rubric.
Well, good deal. Yeah, and I the interview for my two kids wasn't that nerve-wracking, but
Not at all.
I have talked to other people who their children were warned ahead of time about it, but once they came out of it, they were just like, okay,
it's a quick, simple interview. It's about 20 minutes long, and a lot of people that are in there on the interview, they're MSMS alumni, or they're parents of alumni, or parents of current students, so they know the stress that the student may be having, but at the same time, they do a great job of just making you feel calm, and a lot of people go in nervous, and then they come out smiling.
Yeah, and I think y'all are especially adept, having talked to probably 50 or 60 parents about it, on telling the difference between nervous and a kid who's not capable of coming to school. Just because again, my daughter was essentially a cheerleader who went there, Allison, and then the second one comes, who's more the typical MSMS student who definitely belongs there. And so my oldest daughter's going to kill the interview anywhere she goes, she learned from daddy. And the other one might be a little more quiet and reserved, but, at least she knows what's coming. And that's what I've heard from a lot of parents was like, well, I know my kid was nervous at the interview, but then they asked a question, and I hear stories about their face lit up and they were excited. So.
Well, they crafted, we changed the questions last year, and they're well crafted towards academics, and then also towards social maturity and that type of thing. But they're all, again, the interviewers know they're going to be nervous, and they do their best to make them feel settled. So you're 5 blocks from
roughly,
yeah, roughly 5 blocks. Okay, so we're a state school, so we get a lot of folks from the Golden Triangle area.
Yeah,
but over the last 5 years, our student body has represented over 70% of the counties in Mississippi. We have a large group of folks from the coast. We have a large group of folks that are up near Memphis and the DeSoto County area. So we've got them all over the state. And if you're a parent and you're worried about sending your kid here, I want to talk with you about PLUS, which is a program. It's kind of like our PTA. We break down the state into 5 different districts. You'll become close with those parents in that area. You can start doing carpools, anything like that, because you can't always, let's say you live on the coast, you can't always come up every weekend to get your kid, and so you work with those parents as far as that goes. And they also support like prom, winter formal, test snacks, things like that. So and you're involved with PLUS, right?
Yeah, I'm trying my best. It's like a PTA on steroids, and there's parents fighting to get in there. It's pretty impressive. And we see from the group chats and stuff that there are, even in the first week of school, kids catching rides home. There's single parents who can't come up and get them all the time.
Yeah.
Some of the kids like staying too. But you can get your kid a ride. You can get your kid medicine. The MSMS bends over backwards to take them to Walmart, movie theaters, and doctor's appointments and stuff. You're going to have to, my line whenever I speak to a group of parents or something about it is say, there's no question whether your kid should go here. Are you going to let them? Now, there's some parents that want to make them. And that stands out pretty early on. You can tell the kid, because y'all do have all pro quarterbacks, and a lot of times the kid who has the best grade is the best, is all around in everything.
Yeah.
You have a lot of soccer superstars.
And we got like a lot of people stay home because of band or sports and stuff like that. But like last year, we had 2 people that make Mississippi All-State Lions Band, which is it's an all-state band to get there. I made it whenever I went to school here. And in fact, I was looking at our course catalog, and we have more classes in our visual and performing arts than we do. Well, it's just edges out by like 1 than we do in our math, sciences, and humanities. So I would suggest if you're interested, you don't want to leave because of the music programs, just come and visit us, meet Miss Barham. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but like Chuck, but her and Chuck Yarbrough and all these other people. Like Chuck Yarbrough is a nationally recognized 3-time HBO, 2-time best teacher in the country. And I just, the whole time when my kids were going, like, you gotta go see Chuck, you gotta go see Chuck, you gotta go see Chuck, get him before he leaves.
Yeah.
And it's overwhelming how amazing they are at the school. And I call it the Mississippi School for Math and Stuff. Because there's so much other stuff going on. Yeah. That the math is there. The math is unavoidable. But like as far as the science is what you want out of it. Like as much as you push into it, you can go be a world-class chemist if you leave there. But you could be, if you wanted to be a world-class historian, you get some of the best teachers in Julie Heinz and Chuck are unbelievable. Like not kind of good or whatever, and incredibly interested in what your kids are interested in.
Yeah. I love the relationships that the teachers, the faculty, and the students have. It's something that you won't be able to find. I'm biased, but I don't think you can find a relationship like that with any other school in the state, much less the nation. It's coming to tutorials and seeing those tutorials and seeing how much they want everybody in that school to succeed is just amazing. And then again, with the residential side of it, our residential staff wants to see you succeed as well. So you're not just working at it academically, you're working at it socially.
You got chores.
You got chores, yes. I was told not to talk about work service. No, okay. But it's truly a community, and that's the one thing about MSMS that people really don't understand. They know academically it's going to be difficult, but I don't think they know how close they're going to find friends that are like-minded like them. I stole it from a director of advancement many, many years ago, that square block is the most diverse square block in the state of Mississippi. So you're learning so many things outside of the classroom. You're learning the diversity of religion, socioeconomic backgrounds. You have rich kids and poor kids. That just happens. That's a diversity thing that nobody really talks about much. But you're learning about that culture firsthand, one-on-one, because those are your friends. That's your community. And so that's something that you can't really solidify with quantitative data. You can't just put a number on it, but you can hear the stories and you can understand that really you can ask any alumni, any current student that yes, academics are there, but there's something about that MSMS community that makes it so much more special than any other high school in the state. No.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the meat and bones of the actual application, which scares
Sorry,
me.
I came here to talk about the application,
I know,
and now I'm telling stories.
Well, we're always going to brag on the school. It's a good thing that you see 2 people bragging on the school. So part of the application, the personal narrative, a list of course activities, awards, and accomplishments. There's an essay response, the ACT score, which is important, and again, you have time doing there. Your fall semester 10th grade, they want to make sure that you're not slipping off and falling apart.
Yep.
And then the STEM teacher, an English teacher, and another teacher's recommendation.
Yeah, an additional teacher or administrator, either one.
And you'd assume any kids that are this brilliant or hardworking are going to be the teacher's pet of somebody at their current school.
Somebody there, yeah.
So, and because sometimes I've heard that narrative from the emissaries, a lot of the juniors and seniors serve as emissaries to give you tours of the school. These are the actual students do it. And they've talked about, I had this teacher at this school, and it's the reason I'm here is because even if it was one subject, a lot of the other subjects, they're either, a lot of parents have seen that. They're getting bored because they're too far ahead.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's the one teacher, even if it's an English teacher, that helped them get a tutor in math. A lot of them in small schools too.
Yeah.
So
we get a lot of support from those teachers. I reach out to them whenever I do school visits because I know they want their best students to come to MSMS because they've already provided recommendations for those students. So it's good to have those educator advocates in all of the schools across the state.
And the ACT score stays with the school they came from. Is that correct? Is that how it works?
I'll have to check on that.
I'm pretty sure. I've heard that before. But that is part of the resistance is the parents.
Yeah.
So you got the student might be resistant. Like, I don't want to move away. This is my parents' dream, which is I've had to resist on my kids. And then part of it is the school. The kid doesn't want to go. The parent doesn't want to let their baby go, which is probably the toughest part. Or the school itself might push back against it because we're losing one of our best students. You know, and
well, here's sometimes how I put a spin on that is, okay, you're losing one of your best students. Okay, they're coming to MSMS. Chances are that student was going to be valedictorian, salutatorian. Well, you're providing somebody that may have always just come in second place on that because of the best student. Now that person moves up and can be valedictorian, salutatorian, and get provided scholarships that may not have been there had that student stay there. That may be a bad way of spinning it, but I think at the same time you're helping another kid with opportunities because you've come to MSMS for this opportunity, and now you're allowing them an opportunity for scholarships.
Well, you would, especially the academics and administration at schools, would want it for their kid.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's hard. I mean, again, we're very, very close to there. I'm further away right now in Catfish Alley Studios, Mississippi's only Web 3.0 studio. We are further away here than I live, and we are not far away. A good golfer might be able to get to campus from here.
Yeah, we've had kids from Wilkinson County, which it's about a 4.5 to 5 hour drive that came to MSMS. Their family, basically, I think he, and then he had two sisters that are coming in. He has another sister probably that's going to be coming down the road too. So yes, distance sometimes it may be that far away from home may not want you to be to come here, but people do that because they think that education and all of that is the best place for them to be. So yeah.
So they have until, let's say, Valentine's Day next year.
Yeah.
Do not wait, my friends, because sometimes you will see that with some schools. So the school you're leaving, you have to get transcripts from them. You have to get letters of recommendation. Yeah. They're human beings. And in some of them, like I said, you're not doing them a favor by leaving their school. So you need to get those things done. And you may find out that, hey, I'm going to need to take a geometry class. And you need to be ready for that. Plus, you want to be able to spend time on your essay and do it. Don't let ChatGPT do it for you, kids.
Oh, we'll catch you.
They'll figure it out. They're pretty good at it.
Yeah. Our English faculty, the last several years have, question marks on some of this.
Between my two daughters, they've told me they're like, maybe 2 years ago, but now you're not. And plus, you're called on in class a lot to represent your work. I actually had one of the administrators at Ole Miss tell me about how they're drastically having to change things by the minute, and that over the last couple of years, they've the professors have said, okay, come talk about your essay and how you develop this thing. And the kids just a complete blank stare. Getting back to sort of the Socratic method of teaching or talking under a tree with it.
They're going back to blue books now instead of the...
So it definitely helps to have a school where they're doing an essay every week or two, English structure, because that's going to matter. There's going to be classes in science and other studies where you have to write an essay. And there's schools in this state that are writing one essay fall semester and one essay spring semester, not one every week.
Not us.
Trying to think of some other things as far as the application, since we inevitably break off on our second comment.
Yeah, that's I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I shouldn't talk too much about that stuff.
I'm looking brag, but 83% of MSMS students receive a bachelor's degree, 48% receive a graduate degree, 100% of the faculty, you said that have a master's. And I think it's 70% of the counties this year. Is that correct?
Over the last 5 years, about
55%.
55 with this class.
Yeah, do the math there, because that means essentially you've got a lot of one county kids.
Yeah.
But Lowndes County usually 3 or 4, Star Focus 3 or 4, a lot of Tupelo, like I said, South Haven. And it's neat for my kids to be around not only other parts of the state, but other ethnic groups in there. It's nice. So
I love the diversity. And then also last year, we had 13 national merit semifinalists out of 65,000 that tried to get that. And then this year, just a couple of weeks ago, it came out for the class of 2026. We have 16 national merit semifinalists. And I did the math, and that's 14% of our student body.
That's pretty strong. I'll give you, there's a couple schools on the East Coast that are, residential for life. That rank in close to 18 or 20%. There's a couple of the Jesuit Catholic schools. I went to one that are 18 or 20%. Those people are in that school for life. And I went to a Jesuit school. We had a PSAT class 5 days a week for a whole year. You know, like just to get those 40 or 50 kids or whatever. So that percentage of kids who essentially you really got 1 year of prepping for that thing. And my daughters love that, the test taking, that you'll teach them how to take tests.
Yeah, exactly.
And eliminate bad answers and stuff.
Yeah, not everybody is good at taking tests, but we try to provide that for the students so they can get more prepared for that, especially when you're getting ready to do college applications. So, yeah.
Well, good deal. All right, let's talk one more time. Let's say,
okay,
if they're going to do it now, where do they go? What do they fill out? What do they need to have ready? You might as well get your transcripts ready, but you're going to need to get them again.
Yeah. So you'll go to themsms.org, hit the Apply Now button. It'll take you to our application. Things you need to consider are the teachers that you want to give you recommendations. You need a math or science, an English or an additional teacher or administrator. Once you get there, you'll need to be able to upload your ACT. If you've not taken your ACT, please sign up for that ACT because that is a requirement for the application. Get with your counselor, make sure you get the transcripts, make sure you're taking the right classes to enroll in MSMS, and just continue making good grades. Work hard. And
correct me if I'm wrong on this. I know some parents who'll jump on there and be like, my kid hasn't taken geometry, health, chemistry, or that.
Yeah.
Are most of them conditional on acceptance, or do they need to go ahead and jump on the boat and take it?
If they can jump on the boat and take it, I know a lot of schools, it's just their schedule doesn't work that way, but we can, they can take it online. And
both at the state universities, Ole Miss is an excellent class.
Our counselors always refer them to Ole Miss's high school, online courses, and that's pretty easy. And you can get that information to us and our counselors, and so that'll count towards enrollment. So that's the only thing that a conditional is. We're just needing to see you're missing just one. Usually it's half credit of health.
Yeah, health is a big
but and you can get that done really quickly online. So yeah.
One thing I forgot, should homeschool people be afraid of applying to
They should not be afraid of it. I mean, we have homeschool kids every year, not a lot, but there's a little section in the application that's a little different because you're being graded a little different. And then with the recommendations, we request 2 general recommendations. So if you're a homeschooler and you're interested in applying to MSMS, just let us know, and we'll kind of guide you because it's just a little bit different process than it is if you're going to a public, private, or parochial school.
Yeah, and there's a couple reasons that I've learned that, like I said, there's always some pushback from some parents because it's a nerve-wracking thing. Again, I can walk there, and it's nerve-wracking every single night. But with the homeschool parents, obviously they're really involved with their kids' education, and some of them are real far ahead of time, and they were already planning on them going to college or something in 11th grade, and so they're like, I don't want to really jump on it. And then part of it is, again, the letting go of their baby is hard.
That's right. And then again, summer camps are a great opportunity to find out if this is a school for you. If you apply, we'll connect you with some of our current students, so you'll get to talk with them one-on-one about anything. And finally, I would like to invite anybody that can to come to campus and do a tour and meet our faculty, meet our students. We'll also be providing Saturday tours once a month, starting in October. So if you can't come during the weekday, a lot of schools treat a visit to MSMS as if it's a college visit, so we can give you an excuse to come and visit. If you can't make it, we do Saturday tours as well. And then we'll also be doing like virtual super nights, which are informational meetings if you can't make it. I'll be traveling a lot to several cities across the state, doing these things called super nights, which are informational meetings. All of that is on our website. If you have any questions about the application, you can email me at apply@themsms.org. Again, that's apply@themsms.org. If I can't answer your question, I know people who can answer that question for you. But you can also request a campus tour through there, and I can help guide you through that. And I would love to talk to you. I love talking to students and parents about the process. And then again, I tell stories more. I'm more of a story guy than stat guy, but we've got stats to prove all of that. But so come visit us on campus. Start the application. Go to themsms.org. If you have any questions, email me at apply@themsms.org, and we're here to answer your questions and help you and support you in any way possible.
Well, my last pitch and bragging, not about the application part of it. Like I said, no reason your kids shouldn't go here. You're going to let them go here. We visit a lot of schools, and I've talked to a lot of parents in the last 5 years. The neatest part is if you want your kid to have a magical freshman semester at school, your kid is going to be at 75% of the classes they're going to take their freshman year are technically going to be easier than what they just took at MSMS. They're going to be comfortable and ready. Intro to engineering might pop them in the face or something, although they do have that at MSMS.
We do, yeah.
And your kid's going to leave, depending on their focus and what class they take. They're 75% of the way of being a sophomore. Yeah. So they probably won't have to take 5-6 classes per semester freshman year, which, again, being ready for the dorms, ready for doing laundry and food and taking care of their own bills and being on time and studying and all these other things, they have a little less pressure on them their freshman year, which helps them adjust even more. My daughter's up at Ole Miss, and they help schedule your classes as part of the Croft thing, which is very much like MSMS. And so she goes to school from 10 to 2:30 every day, and she's like, well, what am I going to do? She goes, and I was so proud. She's like, I can study for 4 hours, but other than that, whereas most kids are looking for the nearest party. I'm sure she's fitting that in. But
yeah, she's not telling you, I'm sure.
It's been an absolute blessing in our life to have our kids there. Encourage anyone and everyone who just thinks about it, at least apply so that, and if you get in and change your mind or don't want to do it, please let them know before August. Because, the kids who get turned down or put on standby, they're just, a lot of them are clawing and really, really want to go. And doing something last minute like that could be hurtful to them. So. Yeah.
Colin, I appreciate you.
Well, thanks for coming here. Thanks for being here in Columbus. Thanks for being on the show and y'all's energy at the school and the passion that teachers have. It really just, again, you kept saying, meet the teachers. It's unbelievable to see the teachers they have there. Incredible.
Yeah. I'm born to talk to. That's why I always tell people to come to campus. It's the teachers, it's the staff, it's the students especially that will let you realize, what a special place MSMS is. So,
one last shout out to residents with Latoya. With my daughters there's been 2 different times where we didn't know where they were. Like we had come to pick them up and they weren't there, but it wasn't deadline time or anything. It was just Friday at 3:30 and we came a little early. She knew where they were. You know how cool that is? They got 100 and something kids or 200 something kids to manage. And they're like, oh, Katie's at Starbucks. She didn't sign out. She didn't tell, but they're watching them. So it's a good feeling to have even from 5 blocks away.
Yeah, perfect.
The Mississippi School for Math and Science. Spike's been on today. Thanks for coming in.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. My name is Colin Krieger and my day job is real estate. If you're looking to buy or sell, I'd love to talk to you. Or if you just want to sit and talk real estate in a no pressure situation, I'd love to help you. I work with RE/MAX Partners in Starkville, Columbus, and West Point, Mississippi. I can help you find an agent anywhere in Mississippi or anywhere in the country. Just reach out to our office at 662-327-7705 or find me anywhere when you type in 662-329-SOLD.